Diniyat studies. So again, Ramadan was selected for these classes, and the focus of this class was for fiqh, or the Islamic jurisprudence, because that is a very key and very important thing that our youth should know. So this started some like 35, 36 years back, and the purpose of starting this thing here in Canada was to make the young generation aware of this form of learning and teaching. So this is the very first year that we are introducing this class in Toronto, and I know that there are some students or some participants are also being online from some other cities and other countries as well. So I welcome all of them. And I would like to share my experience, like I've been associated with this form of teaching for more than 30 years. What are the benefits and why we want this to do in that particular format? First thing is that we would like our youth to know about the basic terminologies which are being used in in the Tawzil Masail, or even in Quran and Hadith, because there are some specific terminologies which we should be knowing. So in these classes, you will become familiar with those terminologies. You will go through the teachings, the fiqh masail of the mujtahid, which we are following, and then you will become acquainted how to read yourself also from the Tawzil Masail, be it in a hard copy or be it online. And the most important thing is you should learn how to ask questions. Your mind should become inquisitive, so that you should be asking questions, because we are the followers of Saluni. So we should know how to ask questions to our teachers, to ulemas and mujtahideen. Unfortunately, this time we will not be able to have an interactive session because of the physical distancing, but we in this month to have something in which your interaction and your involvement should also be there. Finally, the most important thing is that we would like to bring our youth together at one platform where they can learn the teachings of Islam, where they can know more about how to perform their duties in the better way, in the best way. And I'm sure that the teachers that you are having in this online session will be a great help to you. I'll be also available as an admin for the senior group. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and listening me patiently. Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me, please? Brother Raza, can you hear me, please?
I can hear you. Brother Jarry, how are you? I can hear you very well.
Alhamdulillah. Can you see my video? Like, is it facing me or is it facing the other side?
No, it's facing you. I can hear you. I can see you very well.
Okay, so it's I'm visible, right?
You are completely visible. Yeah.
Very nice, inshallah. Am I allowed to start, or you want?
I think so. I'm done with my intro, and I hope everybody was able to hear me and loud and clear.
No problem. Thank you so much. So I'll start, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعن على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى يوم الدين. فقد قال أبو عبد الله جعفر بن محمد الصادق عليه الصلاة والسلام قال رسول الله عليه الصلاة والسلام طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم ألا إن الله يحب بغاة العلم. First of all, I want to welcome you all. MashaAllah, you guys are on a really good journey, a spiritual journey that is indication of your love for your deen. As Brother Raza was explaining that his language is not English as his first language, I think I should say it for myself too. It hasn't been long that I'm living here in Toronto. So obviously my accent and the way I would speak would be slightly different. So I hope so that all of you that are participating in this would forgive it and will obviously would be looking into the matter more and then into the way of communication. But at the same time, I would like it to be something which is of your interest and something that would be beneficial for you, inshallah, here. And obviously, if it's beneficial for you here with the intention of seeking closeness towards Allah Almighty, then it will be definitely beneficial for you all, inshallah, in hereafter too. Now, the purpose, as explained by Brother Raza, is obviously really clear to give you a slight idea of um, getting in touch with the actual sources. So here, it will be really difficult within few classes that we will be going through to teach you everything that is pertinent to fiqh, obviously. And I mean, like people, when they are teaching fiqh, it takes like years in order to go through different books that are present in Tawdihul Masail, as we know that. But obviously, here we just want to give you the taste of how it feels like to be connected with the book. And obviously, how do we drive our rulings when we are going through it? And more you're connected with the book, and obviously, specifically here, I want to mention is Rasalatul Amaliya, which is Tawdihul Masail in Urdu and Farsi, Islamic laws in English, and in Arabic, it's like Minhaj al-Salihin. Different language, it might be known differently, but the end of the day, what it boils down to is that our understanding and our knowledge of how to practice our deen properly. As we know, there are two parts of our deen, usul and furu'. Usul that has to connect with our aqidah, be it usul al-deen or usul al. Generally, we know usul al-deen that are five usul al-deen. But if we go really like specifically, there are three usul al-deen to be a Muslim, and two of them are added in order to be a mu'min. So what are those three usul al-deen that we need to have to be a Muslim is Tawheed, Nabuwa, and Qiyamah. Like believing in oneness of Allah, believing that Allah sends His messengers to guide us, and there will be a day of judgment for all of us. These three beliefs are necessary for anyone just to be a Muslim. But on top of it, there are two more aqidah that we need to have in order to be a mu'min, in order to have all our ibadah, all our supplications, and everything we do in our life to be accepted, which are adala, to believe God is just, and whatever He does is the right thing that's supposed to be done. And the fourth thing is imama. Second thing, when it comes to the usul al-madhab, and the fourth thing, if you combine them all. So in it, there is no taqleed. Inshallah, we'll be going through it. I'm really sorry, I just jumped into it, but just wanted to give you that there is no taqleed in it. But before we do that, inshallah, first of all, I just want you all to know that what is the benefit of acquiring the knowledge. I would highly recommend you all, inshallah, if you go online, just type Al-Kafi, 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 space Kulaini, Kulayni, Kulaini, English, another space. If you go through it, it's a beautiful, beautiful book. Fiqatul Islam, Sheikh Muhammad bin Ya'qub, in a beautiful book which is called Al-Kafi, which is among the most important and authentic source in Shia religion, in Shia madhab. Within it, four books that we usually refer to deducting our ruling, not four books specifically. There are a lot of books that a mujtahid has to refer, but these are the top of the four books that we have to. First one is Al-Kafi. The second one is Malla Yahzuhu al-Faqih, which is by Sheikh Suduq. Third one is Tahdhib al-Ahkam by Sheikh Tusi. Fourth one is Al-Istibsar, again by Sheikh Tusi. The first book, which is the most authentic one, is Al-Kafi, Al-Kafi Sharif. Al-Kafi, to simply put, Al-Kafi means sufficient. It comprised of 8 volumes that was printed in Iran, and it It has around more than 16,000 hadith. 16,000 hadith. So when you go among the first two volumes, I would definitely recommend you all. Look, the first two volumes of the book is for usul, like for our beliefs and what we need to be when it comes ethically. The rest of 5 volumes are for fiqh, and the last volume is for the history. So I would definitely recommend you all, if you can go through really bit by bit, piece by piece, every day, maybe like 1 or 2 pages every day, if you can go through it and see the beauty of Shia Madhab in it. Within it, we have a book called Kitabu Fadlil Ilm. What does it literally translate? Like kitab, the book, the chapter of seeking the knowledge, of the benefit of seeking the knowledge. All right. The first hadith that you would have seen me mentioning after the khutbah was what? The hadith of Imam Sadiq, in which Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam is saying, Talabul ilm, seeking the knowledge, fariidatun, it's wajib, compulsory, ala kulli muslimin, for every Muslim. Ala, know to be you. Inna Allah, verily Allah, yuhibbu, loves, bughatul ilm, people that seeks knowledge. Go through it, and inshallah you'll get a better translation there. You will love to see the number of hadith there. There's so many hadith there. Second hadith that goes is from Imam Sadiq. How does it go? Talabul ilmi fariidatun. Seeking the knowledge is wajib, is compulsory on all of us. And then there are different other hadith that you can go through and skim through. The reason I'm mentioning it is that you are here. It's good that you are here, but it is equally important for both me to impart the knowledge, whatever I have, and for you all to get more and more knowledge, so that whatever comes, whenever it comes for the deen, whenever it comes for your basic understanding of the deen, related to usul, aqidah, or related to the actions that you do every day, like your fasting, your praying, your like homes, zakat, fitra, all the different things that you see, there are set of rules for everything, right? And we do have to, in order to be close towards Allah, because if we don't do anything properly, then it's of no use. See, one of the hadiths that I would mention finally, and then we will get into the topic, is from Imam Qadim alayhi salatu wassalam. It says, Su'ila Abu al-Hasan, هل يسع الناس ترك المسألة عما يحتاجون إليه. Someone asked Imam Qadim alayhi salatu wassalam, is it fine for someone that he doesn't question something that he needs to know when it comes to deen? What's the reply of Imam Qadim? قال لا. He said, no, it is not accepted. So with this mindset, with this small preface and small introduction, now we will be going into the topic of taqleed. And I hope so, inshallah. One thing that I want to mention here before I would go into the main topic finally is that all the questions that you have, there is a Telegram group. I'm not sure if people can post into it or not, but trust me, and I would love to answer them, because at the end of the day, it is important for us to have a clear understanding of what we are studying. As I have quoted the hadith of Imam Qadim, it leaves no space for us not to question. And inshallah, the next day, the following class I would take, I would try to address those questions, and which is unrelated to the topic. You guys can still ask me, but I will try to answer that, not in the class, but off the class, inshallah. So coming into the topic, I'm so sorry, Brother Raza, but inshallah, I hope so that I'll be going into sequence now. First of all, is it allowed to do taqleed in aqidah? Our answer is no. You can't follow aqidah just because someone is saying to you that you have to follow it. Imagine if Ayatullah Sistani says Allah is one. Would you be following him for this thing? Obviously not. Like, same thing goes for imama, same thing goes for risala, adala, qiyamah, all 5 things. We need to have firm understanding either from our intellect or either from Quran or Hadith. These are the three sources I would say when you want to come up for the aqidah. And hadith too, not a normal one. It needs to be a mutawatir. I don't want to go into it, but to make it short, all of our five primary aqidah are proven through aql, through our intellect. So whatever aqidah that you have related to tawheed, oneness of Allah, related to anything that you have, within these five things, it needs to be based on firm understanding of it. You just can't follow anyone just because someone is asking you to do. So basic understanding is important. Now, if someone doesn't delve into their aqidah and it's just following the way people used to follow, then there's a problem. There's an ayah in Surah Al-Ma'idah, which you can see on screen right now, ayah number 104. What does the Quran say? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وإذا قيل لهم تعالوا إلى ما أنزل الله وإلى رسولي قالوا حسبنا ما وجدنا عليه آباءنا. When it is said to them, to kuffar, right, that come here, let's follow what Allah has revealed, right, what God has revealed and the Prophet. What does this say? What do they say? Sufficient to us is the faith that our fathers had followed. So you see, they are just following what their forefathers or what the people were saying. They were just contented doing that. Then Allah answers them, أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ. Even though their fathers had no knowledge or guidance. So you see here that it is not allowed to do taqleed, and there are so many ayahs that you can go into, and Quran is like filled with those ayahs that we can go into and we can see for ourselves, and the conclusion would be that it is completely not allowed. Coming to the other topic, which is taqleed. How would you, is it important for us to do taqleed, or are there any other ways too? So this is what we were talking about, the aqidah thing when it comes to usul. But when it comes to our actions, when it comes to the things that we have to do practically in order to please Allah Almighty, can we do taqleed in it or not? Now, this is the discussion that we'll be doing now. Now, there are three ways in which people can act upon whatever they need to act upon related to deen. What are those three ways? The first is becoming a mujtahid himself, like a person himself or herself. A mujtahid doesn't need to be a man when it comes to acting upon it. I'll come into the details later when it comes to the marja thing. But let's suppose a girl or a boy wants to act upon his deen. What are the three ways he or she can do that? Firstly, he or she can become a mujtahid, can have understanding of the deen. They would know Quran inside out. They would know hadith inside out. They would know the science of rijal, science of checking the chains inside out. They should know the science of manuscripts inside out. They should know ilm al-nahf, ilm al-sarf, ilm al-fula, and then they can extract the ruling. That's the first way of acting upon the deen, which is the most preferred way to do. Why is it most preferred way? Because God wants us to be really knowledgeable. More knowledge we have towards Allah Almighty, right? But practically speaking, it's really difficult for someone to be a mujtahid. What is the second way of following the deen? Second way, the reason, look, what I would be doing here is that I will be throwing some jargons which will be in Arabic, or which will be like in fiqh language. And we need to familiar ourselves. We can't just be like relying upon some English translation. I would be writing English translation in bracket, but inshallah, more we'll be going through the classes. I'll be using more and more of those jargons, right? Because in order to go through these books, it's important for us to know these terminologies. Second thing is following precaution, just to do ihtiyat. How you do ihtiyat? There are two ways of doing ihtiyat. One is ihtiyatul kubra and one is ihtiyatul sughra. Ihtiyatul kubra means doing a big ihtiyat, a big precaution, like large precaution, right? And then compared to that is a small precaution. So for our understanding, we can do that whatever mujtahid or whatever scholars have gone through the ages, we will try to get their fatawa, we'll try to get their rulings, and then see which is the most safest one to act upon. Let's suppose for tasbihat arba'a that you read in third and fourth rak'ah, few of them would say that you have to read 3 times. Few of them would say you can read just 1 time. Then what you have to do in order to do precaution, you have to read it 3 times to be on a safer side. And likewise, this thing goes long way. Like this is only for one masala. Masail, a lot of issues in our hand, then we have to see which is probably, I would say, which is the most difficult one to act upon, and then we have to act on the most difficult one. If we have a choice between wajib and jaiz, then we will be going towards the wajib side. We will be acting as if it's like wajib. If something is allowed and if something is forbidden, then we have to, what do we need to do? We have to take precaution and don't act upon it. And we have to take it as something which is forbidden. This is called ihtiyat. Third thing is doing taqleed, right? Following a mujtahid or following a marja, right? And now I would say in our current times, precaution is really difficult. There are 2 reasons for this. One of the reason is that doing precaution means that we have to have a lot of knowledge for all the scholars that have gone through the ages. And trust me, even the most knowledgeable among us would definitely not have that much knowledge. So one thing comes in terms of knowledge. Second thing comes in opinion. Like sometimes there is a conflicting opinion that we can reconcile. But sometimes there is a conflicting opinion that we can reconcile. Let's suppose Salatul Jum'ah. The old scholars used to believe that it's not allowed in the time of Ghaiba. But currently you have scholars, some of them saying it's wajibul aini. And some of them would say wajibul takhiri, like you have choice between reading the Dhuhr Salah. What we need to do here? You have such a conflicting opinions among the scholars that either you do whatever you do wouldn't be fulfilling all the criteria that needs to be fulfilled. So one has to, and the second thing has to do with practically doing it. That's why my recommendation to all of my students and all of my people that I know, I would just say go the easiest way. Go to the easiest way. What is the easiest way? To do taqleed. Taqleed literally means following someone. Like here we mean someone putting a necklace in their neck. This process is called taqleed. In old days, what used to happen is that people would put a necklace in an animal that would indicate this animal is specifically for what? For sacrificial purposes. Sacrifice. So that process, that thing used to be called taqleed, right? But when it comes to the religion, what does it mean? To follow, or when it comes to our understanding of taqleed, it means following a mujtahid who is really capable of deducting the rulings from the sources that he needs to use, following him and trusting his knowledge, and basing our actions based on his rulings. This is called taqleed. Comes in. Now we go to the next slide. So one thing here, inshallah, before we go into it, so you see in bracket I have written 1. So the actual book, which is Islamic Laws of Syed Sistani, and that book is applicable and it can be downloaded. It can be also used online using al-islam.org, al-islam.org. When you go into it, whatever rulings that I have seen there, I have written the number in front of it. So when you have the slides with you, so you will, and then you would see the masala number, the problem number, and then you would go to that specific problem relatively. Okay, first you will see the masala written in the PowerPoint presentation, and then you will be referring it in the actual book. Okay, so let's go into the main thing. Why taqleed is important, right? Firstly, reason I'm going into a lot of details about this thing is that this is our basis in which we will be basing that we will be learning in future based only on this lecture. Imagine if someone doesn't have the concept of taqleed not right, and if he's still doubting whether he should do taqleed or not, what is the benefit of him knowing all the rulings that are relevant for him in this world without him having his basic propaganda that is being committed by some of the people here is against the concept of taqleed. So here we need to have a really firm understanding of this concept. So whenever we are being confronted with a situation in which someone is objecting to this concept, then we can answer them using the relevant sources that we need to. So going to the next slide, why taqleed is important. The proof that we will be using here. One is the intellectual proof, which is called aqli, right? Aqli proof. The second proof that we will be using is called what? From Quran and Hadith, which are called qaf lam naqli. So these are the two kinds of proofs that we will be using in order to establish that taqleed is important in our deen and it needs to be followed properly. First proof that we go into is intellectual proof, which is the next slide now. Intellectual proof. Yeah, thank you so much. Intellectual proofs go simply as jahilu الرجوع الجاهلي إلى العالم. The one who does not know needs to seek clarification or knowledge from whom? From someone that knows. It's our common way of going through our affairs of our life, whosoever you see in this world. Let's suppose I'm not a really good and I don't know how to handle my finances properly. What I would do, I would really well, and I can seek some guidance from them. Let's suppose if I don't know how to file my taxes, what I would do, I would go to someone that knows how to file it, and I will give all the relevant information, and he will file the taxes for me. If I have a problem and if I have a disease, God forbid, would I want to do my own? What would I want to cure myself? Like using my own medicine? Obviously not. I would be going to a doctor in order to be guided and to get his guidance related to that specific problem. Like right now, we are confronted with what? COVID-19. God forbid, if someone, ensues it, someone gets it. Thing like, will he be Googling out what he needs to do and then he would be contented himself? Or would he be going to a doctor and getting some advice? Either he'll be going through a virtual meeting, either he'll be going physically. Likewise, in all affairs of your world, you would go to an expert or you would go to someone who knows about the stuff when it comes to the issue of anything. Likewise, when it comes to deen and when I don't know what I need to do related to my sawm, related to fasting, prayers, hajj, zakat, homes, anything you name it, who should I refer? I should refer to the people that have delved into it, that have studied the religion for ages, right? Let's suppose Ayatullah Sistani. He was a student in a really, really young age. Now, alhamdulillah, samahta, has aged more than 80 years now. He's 80 years older now, more, right? So he has gone through 60 to 70 years of his age just studying the deen, right? And not normal reading or not normal way of understanding it. Really, really going into it deeply. So whenever I will be confronted with a problem, what is the safest way to handle it? I will go to someone that knows it inside out. That's the basic intellectual proof. What is the proof that we can use from Quran al-Kareem? So here, if you go to Surah Tawbah, from Surah Tawbah, verse number 122, right? This brother here, can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, thank you so much. So the ayah goes like this: فَلَوْلَا نَفَرَ مِنْ كُلِّ فِرْقَةٍ مِّنْهُمْ طَائِفَةٌ لِيَتَفَقَّهُوا فِي الدِّينِ. وَلِيُنْذِرُوا قَوْمَهُمْ إِذَا رَجَعُوا إِلَيْهِمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَحْذَرُونَ. But why should not there go forth a group from each of their sections to become learned in religion and to warn the people when they return to them so that they may cautious, right? This ayah is applicable in a smaller way and in a larger way in a lot of senses. Quran is giving us two categories here. One are the people that don't know, and one are the people that should know, right? So within, like, Quran knows our limitations too. He knows, God knows that we can't just have all of them. We can't just all of us go and try to learn our deen in such a way that's supposed to be done. So what is the safer way? The safer way is that within our community, every community, a group of people should go and should learn the deen. And when they come, that's the smaller way of looking to the larger picture of it. There should be some of the people that should be so well versed with all these sources that they should be able to deduct all the rulings that are necessary for us, that we use it every day, and they should deduct for us, and we should get an understanding of a religion by looking into them, looking into the rulings that they have given. So this ayah proves taqleed in one way of us referring to the people that are knowledgeable. Now we come into we go into the hadith that are relevant for our subject now, because a lot of discussion is done among the hadith that are being quoted here, and people are always like, I know, because I'm just saying, and you guys are mashallah using internet, and you will be coming across people that are objecting to taqleed. So we need to have the hadith, a hadith from A'imma that we can quote them, and we basic understanding of taqleed is that if I cannot have direct interaction with my imam, what is the source I need to use to get the understanding of my deen? That is as simple as I can put it. Because see, people at that time, when it was time of Amir al-Mu'mineen to be imam, they were living together, most of them. There were parts of people, there were parts of Arabia that were Muslims, but obviously still Imam Ali was accessible. Then came Imam Hassan. You have all Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, and Palestine, and everything under the control of Islamic government. So then you have more people that wanted to know about. Then the time of Imam Hussein came in, Imam Zain al-Abidin came in, and all of these people, more the time was passing, Islam was spreading more and more. More and more people wanted to have the guidance. So now the discussion came up, if people cannot access the imam, what should they do, right? And then we have explicit hadith from A'imma alayhimus salam would give the solution in this, like if you are being confronted, if you are confronting this situation, what is the way to deal with? The first hadith that I would be using is really famous. It's called Maqbulatu Amr ibn al-Hanzala. It's a really famous tradition. The way it goes is that. So let me just give you a background of it. So the background of it is that سألت أبا عبد الله, he asked Imam Sadiq, عن رجلين من أصحابنا بينهما منازعة, that there is a conflict between our Shias, if two of them are having a conflict on an issue related to deen or related to something like inheritance. So can they go to a normal lawyer? Like, can they go to normal legislators and ask them to solve it? Let's suppose if I have an issue with my mom and brother, what is the most preferred way of doing it? Am I allowed just to go to a court and file a case? Imam said, no, you shouldn't do that. What you need to do when you a situation, if there is a conflict. So then Imam replies, what should you do? Imam says, Yanzurani, yani two people are fighting and they are having a conflict. What should they do in order to get that thing properly? Yanzurani ila man kana minkum mimman qad rawa hadithana wa nadhrun fi halalina wa haramina وعرف أحكامنا. So what does Imam says? Who amongst you narrates our sayings, keeps an eye on our declared lawful and unlawful issues, and has you should accept his decision with your heart, and you should understand that I have made him your ruler. See, the thing that you need to focus here is that first Imam was just telling the solution when it comes to two people solving it. But he doesn't just stop there. He says that I have made him ruler over you. Also, if his decisions are according to our teachings, and if someone those decisions, then let it be understood that he is insulting Allah's command and he is denying us. And whoever denies us will be censurable for denying Allah and will be at the threshold of shirk. So you see the hard wordings Imam is using. So if Imam has appointed the rulers upon us, that it is important for us to obey whatever they are saying pertinent to my deen, pertinent to my actions. And you will come across, inshallah, the hadith that I would be quoting from Imam Sahib al-Zaman related to it. The second hadith. Now, this was an example of two people having a conflict. Now, there is another hadith that I will be quoting, and this is when a person doesn't have access to Imam. See, the riwayah is actually quoted by Sheikh Kishi in his Rijal. So the riwayah goes as An Shu'aib al-Aqraquni qala li Abi Abdullah alayhi salam. So Shu'aib, who is a narrator, he asked Imam Sadiq, ربما احتجنا أن نسأل عن شيء فممن نسأل. That a lot of times we have to know what is the ruling regarding something. So who should we ask? So Imam has understood, since he can't have access to Imam every time, and he has pertinent questions related to deen, who should he ask? Imam says, قال عليك بالأسد يعني أبا بصير. Imam said that in this way, like if you come across this, then you should ask Abu Basir al-Asadi. Abu Basir al-Asadi is a really famous narrator and is among the top four companions of Imam Sadiq. One is Muhammad bin Muslim, second is Burayt, third one is Zurara, and fourth one is Abu Basir. So I will be giving some few points here and there, which might not be related to topic, but inshallah will just give you basic understanding of what I'm trying to explain. Again, you see Imam is asking the person to refer to whom? To Abu Bakr, right? And this is from Rijal Kishi. Third hadith is from Imam Rada alayhi salatu wassalam. So someone said, Your Honor, Ya Imam, we live far away from here and we cannot visit you very often. Please tell us, how can we seek religious knowledge? Can we count on Yunus ibn Abdul Rahman? Again, this thing is quoted by Sheikh Kishi in his Rajat. The Imam responded, خُذْ عَنْ Yunus ibn Abdul Rahman. Yes, take your questions, take whatever you need to know from whom? Yunus ibn Abdul Rahman. Again, Yunus ibn Abdul Rahman is among the really famous Shia of his time, really famous companion of Imam Rada, and Imam used to love him a lot and would respect him for whatever things he has done for the deen. And the last one, which is really quoted often and it is really relevant to us, is from whom? From Imam Sahib al-Zaman. This one is quoted by Sheikh Tabarasi in his book Kitab al-Ihtijaj. Kitab al-Ihtijaj is a combination of discussions Imam and Prophet and Aimma alayhimus salam had with few people. So here he is quoting Imam Sahib al-Zaman, Imam al-Zamana. What Imam al-Zamana says, وَأَمَّا الْحَوَادِثُ الْوَاقِعَةِ فَارْجُعُوا فِيهَا إِلَى رُوَّاتِ حَدِيثِنَا. Right? What Imam says? Imam says, to reply to Ishaq bin Yaqub, as far as newly occurring circumstances are concerned, you should turn for guidance to the narrators of our hadith. Who are the narrators? Al-Marajir. They are the ones that are not only looking into the hadith, but also trying to make sense of it and understanding what they are. Now, the most important thing that I want to quote and that will connect this hadith from the first hadith of Amr bin Hanzala is what? So the hadith goes, فَإِنَّهُمْ حُجَّتِي عَلَيْكُمْ وَأَنَا حُجَّةُ اللَّهِ. So Imam says, they are proof, my proof over you, just like I am Allah's proof, right? So let's just make this equation here. Imam alayhi salatu wassalam, Aimma alayhim salatu wassalam are what? Allah's proof on earth, right? And what are those? What are these narrators of the hadith or the fuqaha? They are Imam's authority over us. So that's why when we say that these are naibin imam means in the occultation of Imam Sahibul Zaman, when Imam is not visible apparently, then at that time people that we should look forward in order to get our understanding of our deen is whom? Are maraji, hafidhahumullahu ta'ala. So these are like, this is something that you probably wouldn't find in Islamic laws, like the thing that you will be referring, because when you will be approaching that book, it is understandable that they wouldn't assume that you would know this thing inside out. Like you will have the concept of taqleed really clear. It doesn't need to be explained, and then they will be coming to the rulings. So now we come to the main and important ruling now, which is what are the conditions of a person to be a marji', right? Marji' means one thing that I want to go ask Brother Raza. Brother Raza, can you hear me here? Um, I
Yes,
have
Brother Roger, I
Yeah.
can hear you.
So I'm just saying, like, is it fine if we can move forward some of the stuff to tomorrow? Like, I just don't want to give them a lot of information regarding this. So can we move tomorrow to like some of the slides that are left with Taqleed, or you want me to move forward right
No, so yeah, that's a good idea. What we can do is you can cover whatever is possible for today, and then we can move the remaining part of the Taqleed plus the quiz both tomorrow. So we won't be doing any quiz today because right now we need to discuss the rules and regulations as well with all the participants and all the prizes and everything they would get, right?
now? All
So
right.
you can finish you can finish your lecture and then we will go over rules and regulations and complete the remaining portion tomorrow.
Inshallah. So I'll be going through one or two more slides, and just wanted to give them some taste of the introduction of the book. And inshallah, then you can explain the rules that we need to regarding the, like, how would be the classes going, the quizzes, the prizes, and everything. Would that be fine?
Sure, that's right. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, inshallah. Thank you so much. So what are the conditions of marji'? Marji' means someone that is to be looked upon. Marji', marji' means ruju'. It comes from the word ruju', raja'a, marji'un, marja'un, right? So marji' means something that we need to follow, or we need to move our head towards when, right? So what are the conditions of a marji'? The first condition of a marji' is that he needs to be a Shia. That's a given thing. Second one is he needs to be a male. Now there, like when I like, let me just go through it slowly. So in old time, there used, because the reason this condition came is that there in old time there used to be people, and still I would say there might be few people that are mashallah within our sisters that are really well versed with deen. And in old times, there used to be people that would have so much knowledge that they will be marja for themselves. Remember the first thing I told, that they would have so much knowledge that a woman can also become a mujtahida, can also attain ijtihad. So that's why, since a woman can also be a mujtahida, she can also get the ijtihad. So that's why the second thing came out, which is male, which is really understandable, because if you see the taste of the deen, then even Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra salamullah alayha, as higher she was when it comes to the spiritual status, but still she wasn't an imam. Imams were always who? They were always male, right? So that condition was just like a thing that I wanted to explain, because people might think there might be a contradiction of woman being a mujtahida, but she cannot be a marji'. So just wanted to give you a distinction between the two, right? When I say marji' here, I just don't mean a regular mujtahid. Marji' means someone that I need to follow in order to get my rulings, right? And inshallah, I'll come to the when I'll be explaining the eighth thing, inshallah, I'll be explaining you more. The third condition is that he needs to be a sane person, aqil, like someone with sane mindset. Fourth one is legitimate birth. Fifth one is adil. Adil means just person. Adil means someone. Now the adala is important when it comes to person who's leading the salah. It is important in so many cases. Who is an adil person? Adil person is every person that is not committing sins, is acting upon all wajibat, and even if he commits a sin, be immediately, right? So this is the ala. Sixth person is she should be living, so I cannot do and start taqleed wa Ayatullah Khuy. May Allah give him a really high status. Ayatullah Khuy is died now, right? I cannot start with Sheikh Tusi. I cannot start with Sheikh al-Mufid. So these are all the people that I can start with. I can only start with Sistani. The seventh condition is the mujtahid needs to be, the marja needs to be who? Marja needs to be baligh. Baligh means someone who has attained the age, either he's 15 years old and all the other conditions. The reason this condition is there is that we had in our Shia history so many people with such a good knowledge that they were mujtahid even before they were baligh. They had so much knowledge with them, right? So within that Shia context, like sometimes you would come across a ruling and you'd be like, man, like 15 years guy, like how much he would know? No, but if you go through the history, we have some examples that they were really brilliant mind that became mujtahid at a really young age. But people didn't used to follow them. Why? Because they were not baligh. Eighth condition is to be a mujtahid. Like a contradiction. Mujtahid. Wow. Like, what is the difference between a mujtahid and a marja? Mujtahid has the ability to deduct the ruling of deen using the sources like Quran, Hadith, and Ijma. But it doesn't necessarily, that person doesn't necessarily become a marja. For a marja, you need to have all other conditions too. And the thing differentiates a mujtahid and a marja is the ninth condition. And what is the ninth condition? That he should be most knowledgeable of all. As we say in Arabic, he should be a'lam, most knowledgeable of all. So when we have so many mujtahid nowadays, mashallah, Ayatullah Wahid al-Khurasani, Ayatullah Hakim, Ayatullah Ishaq Fayyaz, we have so many scholars now. Within these so many mujtahid, who to follow? We should be following who? We should be following the person who is most knowledgeable among the all. And how to identify a mujtahid or a marja in the next slide. So how do we do that? There are three ways of doing it. Inshallah, I'll be talking about this, and the rest of it I'll be going through tomorrow because we will be running over the time. We have gone long over time, like 45 minutes, so it's already 56 now. But inshallah, I'll just go through this ruling quickly. So in order to identify a marja or a mujtahid, there are three ways of doing it. Firstly, I have my own conviction. Brother, can we go to the next slide, please? Conviction. If I have enough knowledge that I can know that who is the and a person who is most firm in understanding the deen, then that's enough for me, right? That own conviction usually comes around the more I know about the deen. Like I would go of different other mujtahid, like I would go personally to the classes of each mujtahid and would examine and would see who is the best of all. And then if I get the conviction, usually for us, that's not the case. Just people attesting, like two adil people attesting. So that's why it's much practical. Usually what happens is if I'm starting to do my taqleed, what is the two Maulana Sahibs of our masajid that we know are really good in their conduct, are adil, and are really good people, and know deen really good, I will go to them and I'll be like, Maulana, I'm starting my taqleed, what should I do? And I'll be asking two Maulanas, right? Or three Maulanas, how many Maulanas I want to, but And if they say, yeah, you can start the Taqleed of Ayatullah Sistani, that should be good enough for me to at least start something. That's the second way. The third way is group of learned people attesting, which is in Arabic called Ahlul Khubara. Ahlul Khubara is a committee of people that are really well versed with Deen and that know these mujtahid inside out, because they are, like you would say, a monitoring group. So when these always give you the guidelines, and they are in Qom and I think they are in Najaf too, they would always mujtahid that you can do the taqleed of, and that should be sufficient for you if you do that. So usually they would always have the list of the scholars like Ayatullah Sistani, as I said, Ayatullah Sa'id al-Hakim, Ayatullah Zanjani. These are all the scholars that they're naming. So if I have itminan and if I have satisfaction with whatever list that they're giving, and on top of it, they're saying, most of the learned people are saying it's Ayatullah Sistani. So then you would be doing what? You would be starting the taqleed of Ayatullah Sistani. In the third way, the way that's different than the second one is that in the second one, at least I have the knowledge that these are the just people. I might not know these group of people personally, but I know that this is a committee that is being responsible and is responsible for figuring it out who are the mujtahid in this contemporary world. So in that way, I will be referring to their understanding. So this is the way you would be coming up with the conclusion, who should you follow? And inshallah, from tomorrow onwards, inshallah, we'll be going through it. Today, as you know, was an introductory class. And also, I just wanted to put more emphasis on making a clear understanding what taqleed is. Because if we have the basics really good, then it will be easier for us to move forward. So inshallah, tomorrow we will be going through whatever slides are left. And whatever questions you have, please post them into the Telegram group or send an email. Just have like any sort of communication if you have. If you need scans or everything that I have mentioned, just let me know. I'll give you the actual page and actual scan, inshallah. So when you are discussing with someone, you have the source with you and you can just quote them the translation, inshallah. So Brother Raza, I think I'm done here. It's already like more than an hour, and inshallah, you can take forward from here, inshallah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jazakallah.
Fi amanullah. I'll see you all tomorrow. Fi amanullah.
Well.